Hallelujah. Praise be to God. Let us meditate on Sermon in Action. Matthew Gospel, chapter 8, verses 3. Then Jesus put out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. At the end of the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5 to 7, Matthew says, when Jesus had finished this sermon, the crowds were astonished at his teaching because he was teaching them like one who had authority. As we read in Matthew Gospel, chapter 7, verses 28 to 29. But if Jesus did not have the authority or the willingness to accomplish anything, what good are his words? Immediately after his sermon, Jesus' authority is tested as he encounters three categories of outcasts. The first to meet Jesus was a leper, as we read in verses 1 and 4. Lepers were seen as repulsively unclean and cursed by God, as we read in Numbers chapter 12, verses 10. Jesus could have healed the leper with merry words, but by touching him, Jesus identified with the uncleanliness of the leper in order to make him clean. In this brief scene, we get a foretaste of what Jesus will do. Ultimately, on the cross, all of us stand before Christ, dirty and stained with the shame of sin. We have things in our lives, either past or present, that make us lepers before a holy God. But on the cross, Jesus identifies with our uncleanliness and touches each one of us, as we read in Galatians chapter 2 verses 20, to make us clean. The second to be healed is the centurion's servant, as we read in verses 5 to 13. The centurion and his servant would have been Gentiles, and Jew was unlikely to go to their home. Yet Jesus offered to come to this Gentile's home. The servant was healed because of the great faith of the centurion. The third to be healed was another unlikely candidate from the outskirts of Jewish society and culture, a woman, Peter's mother in law, as we read in verses 14 to 15. Lepers, Gentiles, and women were considered outcasts by many Jewish people, especially the Pharisees. Jesus put his sermon into action, starting with the outcasts first. Hallelujah. Praise be to God.